Question: is evolution the biological principle that is basically the foundation for all of modern day biology random by nature? I've had this discussion a few times, and I'm currently having this with someone via the YouTube inbox. And this is the way that they normally argue it. There's two basic principles of evolution. One is the environment in which a species exists within, and the second is the random genetic mutations that happen to a species, which, if you didn't know, no offspring is born because a mama and a papa have sex and they give birth. So normally the genetic material comes from each one. But there are also random genetic mutations. This is like a glitch in a video game. It's something that's not supposed to happen, but it happens sometimes anyway. And it's these changes that allow the species to go in a completely different direction than it's never gone before, or that the genetic material to make that change did not previously exist. Since these are the two things that are necessary for evolution to happen, and they are by nature random, doesn't that make evolution random? And it's not, because evolution isn't either of those traits, it's both of them working together. The classic example of evolution working in nature is about 200 years ago in the UK, where you had the peppered moths, which were all white. Then the Industrial Revolution happened and there was soot everywhere on the trees. Now, that was bad because it changed the color of the trees. The moths had to hide on it so that predators would not find them. When they were white and the trees were white, it was all good. When soot covered them and they became black, they were very visible. So those moths that gave birth to offspring that happened to have genetic mutation and were darker in color were statistically more likely to survive. It's not like all the white moths immediately died and all the black moths immediately just survived. It was a much more gradual process. Like, let's say those of a darker tone were 60% more likely to survive than those of a lighter tone. And after several generations, after several decades, this change happened to the entire species, where the vast majority were dark. Now, more in the modern day, where the UK is not the center of the Industrial Revolution or industrialization anymore, and they've also taken more environmental causes and concerns, and they've started cleaning up these areas so there's not as much soot anymore, and the trees are lighter in color now, there's no benefit to being dark. In fact, it's actually detrimental. So as time has gone on, the black ones tend to die off, and those which give genetic mutations that cause the being to be more light tend to survive more. And once again, you might say that all of that is random, but it's not, because it was the conjunction of the genetic mutations and the environment changing that caused evolution. Think of it this way. Let's say we go back to elementary school and we pull up a math problem like, I don't know, 2 plus 3 is 5. Now, you might say that this is just a random problem, but it's not. The 2 is random. I mean, I just had to pick a number to start with. The 3 is random because I had to pick something to do with it. I could have picked any number. I could have even picked a different process, like 8 divided by 3 or something. But I just picked 2 plus 3. That's random. What's not random is the 5. When these two things function together in the way that I've described them functioning together, they will always equal 5. That is not random. That's the only way it can work. It has to equal 5. When you combine these genetic traits, these genetic mutations that can allow the moths to change color by random chance, and you have an environment that changes color in which the species will be best able to camouflage with by random chance, there's only one way for the species to attain survivability, meaning that they can live long enough to reproduce and have offspring and pass on their genetic traits. And it's pretty objective to determine survivability. If you can't have babies, then you survive. If you can't, then you don't. It's pretty obvious. So although the components that make up evolution, the changes in the environment, and the random genetic mutations are both random, neither of those are evolutions. The two things working together. And the two things working together are defined as evolution. And once again, there's only one way it can work out. So it's not random. It's like basic math. It has to work out one way. So no, it's not random. Thanks for watching.